paradrama tales.
I helped my brother walk away from his own wedding because the woman he was about to marry invited our mother, the same woman who shattered our childhoods and never looked back. What would you do if the person you loved most chose your worst? Pain as her wedding? Surprise? People hear divorce and think of two adults who fell out of love. But when our parents split, it wasn't heartbreak. It was warfare. I was 3. Sam was 5. Joe, the oldest, was 7. We were just boys, but we learned early what poison sounded like. Our mother's jealousy wasn't the quiet kind. It roared. She accused Dad of cheating every time he smiled at another woman, sometimes even when he smiled at us. I remember once, after a simple daddy-daughter park day, she spat at him that I wanted to replace her. I was 6. Dad tried. God, he tried. But eventually, he remarried, a gentle, kind woman named Elise. That's when Mom snapped. She called Elise names I can't repeat, taught us that crying for worthless people meant we were weak. And when Elise died in a car crash, Dad called to tell Mom so we could attend the funeral. You know what she did? She took us on a celebratory trip, said it was a better use of time, I'll never forget the way she smiled when we cried. It wasn't motherly. It was victorious. From that moment, something in us died. Not all at once, but piece by piece. Joe started calling her the woman, never Mom. Sam went quiet for months. And me? I stopped expecting anything from her. When we turned 18, we didn't make a dramatic exit. We just faded away. Contact dropped, holidays disappeared. She blamed Dad, called us traitors. Her husband joined the chorus, calling us ungrateful, broken, selfish. It was background noise, white static. But somehow, Sam found love. A woman named Daniela. For the first time, he thought he could build something stable, something new. He told her about Mom, the whole mess. She said she understood. She didn't. And what we learned next, the quiet betrayal she orchestrated behind closed doors, would force us to revisit every scar, every silence, and ask ourselves, when someone chooses to love you, do they also choose to protect you? People think childhood is stolen by tragedy, but often it's betrayal that does it. Slow, quiet, corrosive. Like rust eating away at the edges of something that once held strong. For us, it wasn't just the chaos our mother caused. It was the moment we realized the adults around us knew, and still chose silence. You see, after Elise died, the custody battle exploded. Mom had every chance to show a sliver of humanity. But instead, she weaponized our grief. I still remember her saying, "Only weak people cry for stepmothers." Sam was holding Elise's scarf. He dropped it like it burned. Dad fought for full custody. Not because he wanted to erase her, but because she was turning love into fear. And the courts agreed. She got visitation. Supervised at first. But nothing changed. The manipulation, the gaslighting, the jabs. Especially toward me. I was always the soft one, the youngest. Easy target. As we got older, the calls from her slowed, but the damage didn't. At school, I couldn't trust teachers. At home, I didn't trust phone calls. If something was good, we waited for the catch. And that's what childhood became, a state of waiting for disappointment. Joe turned into our protector. Sam became the fixer. I became the mirror, reflecting whatever they needed me to be so the family wouldn't break any further. Then came the graduation, my high school ceremony, the one time she showed up in nearly a decade. She didn't come to cheer. She came to humiliate. Told anyone who'd listen that we were selfish, ungrateful kids. Her husband joined in, whispering that we'd get what we deserve. That was the last straw. We went no contact, and it felt like mourning a death that never really lived. Sam tried to build forward. He met Daniela, and I'll admit, she was charming. Maybe too charming. She said all the right things, claimed to understand. Sam let her in, slowly, carefully, with scars showing. But Daniela didn't carry his pain. She analyzed it, doubted it. Treated our childhood like an exaggeration, a fable, something to fix. That's when the cracks began. Because losing a childhood is one thing, but losing your voice, being told the truth of your life is just drama? That cuts deeper. And as the wedding planning began, we didn't realize we weren't gaining a sister. We were welcoming someone who believed the woman who broke us still deserved a seat at the table. Some people think no contact is a dramatic reaction, but they've never lived with a parent who poisons everything good. No contact isn't about revenge, it's about survival. It's about creating silence where there used to be chaos. When we cut her off after my graduation, it wasn't out of rage, it was out of exhaustion. Years of being told we were ungrateful, that we were imagining things, that our stepmother didn't matter, even though she raised us, that our father was a liar, that we were the problem. We stopped picking up calls, stopped replying to messages, blocked numbers, deleted voicemails. And for a while, it was quiet. That kind of quiet you don't realize you've needed until it wraps around you like a blanket. But here's the truth no one tells you. No contact doesn't give you closure, it gives you distance. The wounds don't seal overnight, they just stop getting new ones. Sometimes I'd wonder what she was doing, not out of care, out of wariness, like checking the locks on your door at night, even though you know no one's there. It becomes instinct. Sam struggled more. He always believed people could change. He wanted to believe she could too. That maybe one day she'd wake up and feel remorse. But remorse never came. Only new stories about how we'd abandoned her, how her real children were brainwashed. And then Daniela came into the picture. At first she played along with our boundaries, said she understood why we didn't talk to Mom. But slowly that changed. She called us too sensitive, said, family is complicated. She wanted Sam to reconsider things, to invite Mom back in. Just for the wedding, she said, as if inviting someone who made our childhood a battlefield could be undone with a slice of cake and a champagne toast. We reminded her, this wasn't about being petty, this was about pain, and pain has memory. Ours just happens to remember birthdays ruined, funerals mocked, and safety stolen. But Daniela didn't get it, or maybe she didn't want to. Sam held firm for a while, but love can make you second-guess even your clearest decisions. And that's what scared us most, because we'd gone no contact to keep our peace. But now, someone Sam trusted was trying to open the door we'd locked for good. Sam has always been the romantic one, the kind of guy who remembered anniversaries with handwritten letters and left flowers just because it was a Thursday. He gave his whole heart to Daniela, every flawed, hopeful, loyal piece of it. And in return, she gave him something that looked like love, until you held it up to the light. In the beginning, we wanted to like her, truly. She seemed kind, a little naive maybe, but supportive. Sam glowed around her. We hadn't seen him that happy in a long time. So, we bit our tongues when she asked questions about Mom. Gave her the benefit of the doubt when she said things like, maybe she's changed, or, don't you miss her? At first it felt like curiosity. Then it started to feel like something else, like a campaign. She'd slip in little comments, soft at first, then sharper. Your dad seems intense. Are you sure your stepmom didn't exaggerate? Everyone deserves a second chance. But it was one conversation that made my stomach sink. I remember it clearly. We were having dinner. Daniela looked at Sam and said, I just think children should grow up with both grandmothers, don't you? And the look on Sam's face. He froze. It was the first time I saw doubt cross his eyes, the kind that burrows deep. Love makes you want peace. But sometimes, peace means pretending the war never happened. I don't know when Daniela started planning her betrayal. Maybe she always believed she could fix our family, play peacemaker. Or maybe she just didn't respect the lines we had drawn, because they didn't fit her picture-perfect fantasy of what marriage should look like. Either way, what she did next wasn't ignorance. It was choice. She invited our mother to their wedding, not by accident, not as a slip-up. She invited her, quietly, secretly, knowing exactly what it would mean. She didn't warn Sam, didn't consult him. She just did it, as if his trauma were negotiable, as if her vision of family mattered more than his reality. And when Sam found out, when he heard it from us, not her, something inside him shattered. Because love shouldn't come with terms and conditions. But this one did, and it came with the woman who had broken us all once before. The day of the wedding was supposed to be filled with joy. Sam had picked his suit 3 months early. My dad had his speech memorized. The venue was stunning, floral arches, candlelit aisles, laughter echoing from the courtyard. We were ready to celebrate love. Instead, we walked into a trap. The first sign something was wrong was the silence. Weddings are loud, clinking glasses, last-minute directions, flower girls skipping down hallways. But that morning, something felt tight, like the air was holding its breath. When we entered the church, I saw them before Sam did, her, our mother, and that man she married sitting front row, with their smug faces, like they belonged there, like they had a right. I felt my pulse spike. I froze. Then I turned and ran, straight to my phone, straight to Sam. His voice cracked when I told him. "What do you mean they're here?" I said. "She's not crashing." Daniela invited her. There was silence. Then, "Get me out of here." Within minutes, I was in the car with Sam. We didn't speak. He just stared ahead, jaw clenched, hand trembling against the window. He was still in his tux, still wearing the boutonniere she had picked, still holding on, barely. Meanwhile, my older brother Joe stayed at the venue to deliver the message no one expected. There would be no wedding. Not today, not ever. Daniela's family was livid. Her father screamed. Her mother cried. Guests were confused. Gifts had been wrapped, vows written, people had flown in. But none of that mattered more than the betrayal. Because you don't invite a man's nightmare to stand and smile at the moment he's most vulnerable. Daniela didn't even try to hide it. She said she thought it was the right thing to do, that family matters, that Sam needed healing, but healing isn't forced, and it sure as hell isn't scheduled like a wedding reception. She had every chance to come clean, to talk, to ask, but she didn't. She decided for him. And that day, under the echoing arches with 250 guests waiting, Sam made the only decision he could. He left. Not because he didn't love her, but because she didn't love all of him, the broken parts, the boundaries, the boy who had been hurt. Too many times before. When Sam walked away from that church, he didn't just leave behind a wedding. He left behind a version of his future, a future built on someone else's idea of healing, of family, of forgiveness. And as the dust from his footsteps settled on the marble floor, the weight of what he had escaped finally began to crush him. At home, he didn't say much. He didn't need to. The look in his eyes said it all, relief tangled with grief, fury braided with heartbreak. We sat in silence, the kind that only comes after a storm. My father kept the lights low. My sister-in-law made tea no one drank. Joe paced like a caged animal, and outside, the world erupted. Daniela's family blew up our phones. Her father raged about shame and dishonor. Her sisters called us cowards. Her friends sent long, pleading texts about reconsidering. Even her stepfather, yes, him, had the audacity to call Sam a worthless boy, claiming he'd dodged a real woman. But the worst part? Daniela wasn't sorry. Not really. When she finally messaged Sam, there was no apology. Just blame. She said he was brainwashed by us, that he didn't know what real family looked like, that she had done what she did for his own good. That's when I knew Sam had made the right decision, because love doesn't ambush you. Love doesn't force you into reconciliation with your pain, especially not in a tuxedo, standing at an altar. Sam changed the locks the next day. We went back to the apartment he and Daniela were supposed to move into after the honeymoon. Quietly, calmly, Joe and a few cousins boxed up Sam's belongings, his tools, his books, the signed baseball from our dad, the photos he had framed of us as kids. Everything that made that place feel like home was gone in an hour. Daniela came by later, tried to talk, cried, begged, even threatened to destroy his things if he didn't face her like a man. But Sam didn't show. He stayed with us, curled up on the couch, a blanket over his head, saying nothing. And in that silence, something shifted. We weren't just helping him recover from heartbreak. We were helping him reclaim his peace. Because when you've grown up learning to smile through manipulation, to flinch at kindness, and to doubt your gut, sometimes the bravest thing you can do is walk away from the story someone else is writing for you, even if it breaks your heart to do it. The wedding never happened, but the war had only just begun. It started on Facebook, because of course it did. Daniela posted a photo of the empty church aisle with the caption, "Betrayed on the happiest day of my life. He ran away from love, just like he ran from his mother." She knew what she was doing. She knew the keywords that would sting, the narrative that would catch fire, and oh, did it catch. Within hours, the messages began. Friends, old classmates, co-workers who hadn't spoken to Sam in years, all reaching out in disbelief. What happened? Is it true? How could you leave her like that? Even people from our extended family chimed in, some sympathetic, others scolding. Sam didn't respond, but I did. At first, it was just to a few close friends, people who deserved to know the truth. Then Anna, Joe's wife, had enough. She drafted an email, methodical and devastating. It laid out the timeline, the years of abuse, the silence at Daniela's end, the deliberate betrayal. She attached screenshots, dates, receipts. Then she hit send. Not just to friends, but to the entire wedding guest list. The replies poured in like rain, quiet apologies, furious retractions, people deleting their comments from Daniela's posts. One cousin called Sam in tears, saying she felt manipulated. Daniela tried to backpedal, claiming she only invited our mother to bridge the past. But the lie was out in the open now, exposed and decaying in the light. That's when the threats started. Daniela's father, furious at the public shaming, threatened legal action, emotional damages. "You owe us for this humiliation," he barked on a voicemail. Sam said he'd pay back the wedding contributions, just to cut the cord. That wasn't enough. They wanted him married to her, still. And then came the lowest blow. Daniela posted publicly that she was pregnant, not privately, not to Sam. Just blasted it out online, knowing exactly what kind of chaos it would unleash. Family, friends, strangers all started speculating. Sympathy shifted, lines blurred again. Was Sam the villain? He confronted her, calmly, asked for proof, a test. She refused. So Sam walked. And when she wouldn't stop, when she started leaving voicemails, threatening to hurt herself if he didn't speak to her, he didn't go back. He called the authorities, not to punish her, but to protect himself, to protect all of us. Because some fires you don't fight with buckets of reason. You build firewalls, you shut the door, you stop letting them burn down your life. Healing doesn't come with a ribbon on top. It doesn't look like the end of a movie, or the last chapter of a book. It's messy, loud in moments, silent in others, and sometimes it shows up in the small, almost invisible things, like Sam laughing again without catching himself, or Dad falling asleep with the TV still on, not from exhaustion, but because he feels safe. After everything, the wedding implosion, the fake pregnancy, the online smears, we could have shattered, but we didn't. We got louder in our support, closer in our grief, more deliberate in our joy, because we had to be. The world around us wouldn't give us that peace unless we carved it out ourselves. Sam started running, at first just around the block, then farther, then daily. He trained like it was the only way to outrun what had happened, but over time, the running turned into something else, reclaiming, rebuilding. With every mile, he reminded himself of who he was before the lies, and who he refused to become because of them. Dad took a different path. He started gardening. Something about putting your hands in the dirt makes life feel more honest. He grew tomatoes that nobody liked and zucchini that we didn't know what to do with, but we ate every bite because it meant something, because he was trying. And me? I started saving voicemails, not the ugly ones, the ones from Sam and Joe or Dad or even Rita, quick hellos, inside jokes, one-liner updates, just little moments I could replay on the days when it all felt too heavy. We used to survive in silence. Now we made a point to speak. Daniela faded. Her chaos burned hot but brief. She moved away. Occasionally tried to circle back, but Sam didn't flinch anymore. He knew what love wasn't now. And that's its own kind of armor. People still ask us why we went no contact with our mother, why we're so protective, why we're so loud about it all. And the answer is simple. Because when you grow up in the dark, light feels revolutionary. No, healing isn't quiet, but it is honest. It's loud laughter in the kitchen. It's standing your ground at the gates. It's saying no without flinching. And most of all, it's loving each other louder than the past can whisper. The year turned over quietly. No fireworks, no countdowns. Just the slow hum of a new rhythm. A life no longer ruled by fear, betrayal, or ghosts from the past. We were all gathered at the family house. Sam was sitting by the fire with his new girlfriend. Dad was trying and failing to carve a turkey. And Joe was chasing our niece around the couch, her laughter echoing through rooms that once held so much pain. It hit me then. Peace doesn't come with fanfare. It arrives when you stop explaining your scars and start living in spite of them. Sam's old wedding venue refund finally came in. Instead of saving it, he used part of it to donate to a shelter. "If I'm going to lose a future," he said, "I want someone else to have a chance at theirs." That's the brother I helped walk away. That's the man he's becoming. We're still healing. We're still figuring it out. But we've stopped trying to make sense of people who broke us and started writing stories that belong only to us. And if you've ever had to choose between blood and your own peace, choose peace. Choose it loud. Choose it without apology. Because sometimes family is who stands beside you at the gates, not who gave you their name. If this story moved you, share it. And stick around. There are more stories like this, where healing is hard, but always worth it.